So here's the deal, anxiety. I'm not fucking around. I am serious about this. This Vlogmas is all about me dealing with, and not just dealing with, but healing my anxiety, which if you've seen the first two videos of this little series, you already know, but it's worth repeating. And today is a day to really talk about all of the ways in which I am not fucking with anxiety, and that I am going to really commit to this, I don't want to call it a journey again, but like it kind of is. It's a short one, it's not like the rest of my life. But really, today is a big day in terms of me committing to this decision to really heal my anxiety, because a couple really good things have happened today. Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, a number of good things have happened. So first of all, one of the things that I am doing to deal with my anxiety is figuring out what sort of, supplements I need, what I need to be taking, what might be helping me, because I don't want to use a medication. And there's nothing wrong with medication, and I should say that because I've said this more than once, that like, I don't want to use meds, but like, it's a personal decision. I think that there are a lot of options. I think that for some people, a prescription medication is the right thing to do. And I know there's a lot of people out there who like got their fucking life back because they went on a prescription. And I think that I don't want to stigmatize using a medication, because it just like takes us down that path of like stigmatizing mental illness and mental health. I was just talking to somebody about this, that when I think of a chronic condition, like, and knowing people dealing with a chronic condition, like in my cohort of being a gay man, it's like, people who live with HIV, I know examples of people who are living with HIV and they're managing it with a medication, and it's never gonna go away, and this is what they have to do each day to stay healthy. And my response to that, of course, is like, that's great. Like, I'm so happy for them and proud of them for taking control of their health, and for having the bravery to say, okay, I've got this thing, but it's not gonna kill me. Like, I really have nothing but like positive things to say about that. And I'm not equating HIV with anxiety, except for the fact that it's chronic, except for the fact that it's not gonna just go away. And I think also, there is a sense of, like, I know for me, there's been a sense of resentment about having anxiety. Like, I resent the fact that I'd have to take a medication to feel like myself. I resent the fact that me at baseline has some kind of wiring problem or something that needs to be corrected. And, that resentment gets you nowhere, right? You're just like stuck in the fucking mud because you're mad about your situation. And I guess, I think that medication is a way to kind of deal with this, and I have just looked into some other options. I've been interested in, for years, trying to find alternatives to prescriptions, and I've tried a number of different things. I tried 5-HTP, I've tried St. John's wort, of course I did ayahuasca, which is a whole different thing. I've done, there's like ashwagandha, and there's rhodiola, and there's all different like, herbs and supplements and things that you can take, and I'm not saying any of them work or don't work. I don't know if they were working for me at the time, but I can never really tell, because I also was like living in New York and was like had a stressful job, and like I didn't really know where my anxiety was coming from, So what I've found now, to kind of jump ahead to what I'm trying now and what I'm feeling kind of positive about, the first thing is l-theanine, which I've been taking for well, let's see. It says that there's 60 capsules in here, so I've probably been taking it for about a month, and I have nothing but positive things to say about theanine. It is a non-essential amino acid. I think it's found in tea, and so if you drink like a lot of black tea or green tea, you could probably, because each pill here is 200 milligrams, and that's like a standard dose, and that's what I take. I take one in the morning on an empty stomach. And you'd have to drink a shit ton of tea to get that same amount, but maybe you like tea, and so, go for the gold. But what it does is, I found that it does take the edge off of the anxiety, while also helping me like kind of feel like focused, like it doesn't have that effect where it dulls everything the same way like a Xanax might, or something else that just kind of like, numbs you out a little bit. I feel like when it kicks in, and it really, like the first time I took it, like 20 minutes later, I was like, oh, I feel this. And, that was really like, I think maybe the first couple days, like it took a little bit for my body to get used to it. Like, your body just kind of has to adjust to this like new thing. But I have definitely felt that consistently when I take it, I feel both more focused and calmer. Like the edge is taken off my anxiety. So that's really helped. I just today started taking 2 new things. One is l-tyrosine, which is another amino acid. Marco, I'm trying to film a video. I'm trying to talk about my supplements and you're playing in a box. Why you gotta be like that? All right. Anyway, I've read some good things about this in terms of managing anxiety and depression. I think more so its effects on depression. I think I want to say before going forward is like both of these are considered generally safe by the FDA. There's no real side effects. There's not really any harm in taking them together. It's hard to say. I just started taking it this morning, so I don't know if it's helping. What I do think might be helping, and I'm surprised because by looking at the box, this looks like it's something that you might take and like it doesn't do anything. But I just got this stuff called Calm Aid, which, again, I know, you look at this and you're like, what do you, I know. But here's the thing, I don't have my glasses, but what's in it is this, it's lavender oil. It's called Selexan, which I guess is like the name of the like, the whatever they've extracted from the lavender oil, which, English lavender, lavandula. Anyway, listen. It's essentially it's a version of lavender oil in a gel capsule, and I found this because I was looking up, what were some, natural remedies or ways to treat anxiety, and I found this thing Selexan, and so I started researching that way, and I found something that I could get on Amazon, but it was like really expensive. And of course, the part of me was like, oh, well, if it's expensive, it must work. But then the more research I did, the more I found people saying, oh, you could just get this stuff Calm Aid by, from Nature's Way, and it's much cheaper and it's the exact same thing. And so looking at the ingredients, it really is the exact same thing. Selexan, I guess there have been a number of studies that it does have a measured effect on anxiety and on stress management. And so listen, today I took 1 theanine, 1 tyrosine, and 1 Calm Aid, and I was feeling some anxiety this morning, and I am not feeling any anxiety right now. Now, mind you, it is a weekend, it is a Saturday right now, and I know that like work is a real like anxiety trigger for me. And so there's that element too, but I was feeling this morning before I took these, I was still feeling anxiety about work, like it's sort of spills over into the weekend now. So the fact that I'm feeling totally calm now and I don't feel like my thoughts are racing, I feel kind of in control of them, to be honest. A little bit out of it, like I feel like a little bit out of it, but I think it's, to be honest with you, it's like I don't feel hyper aware of everything around me, which the way that like anxiety makes me feel, and I think that freaks me out a little bit. It's kind of like, it's like driving with one eye closed. It's like, this doesn't feel safe at all. But so far I haven't walked into traffic, so I'm into this. So yeah, so that's part 1 of what's been really good about today. There's 2 other good things. One is just that it's a beautiful, it doesn't really have to be like winter here in Sacramento, but it's like a beautiful fall, winter kind of day here. And I went for a nice long walk around Midtown, downtown Sacramento. And I have been such a fucking hermit lately. It's been really cold here. It gets dark so early around the winter, and I've just been feeling like this intense anxiety and depression lately. And this was like, I haven't gone out for this much of a walk in a while. I haven't like gone out into the world this much in like a while. And so, a few weeks, like, I don't know, like most of November, And so that felt really good, just to kind of get out and about and like walk around and like be among people. And I do think that the supplements I took this morning really helped. But the other most significant thing I did today is I made an appointment with a therapist. And I was, as I've said, I was feeling a lot of resistance about finding a therapist, and I was feeling like I had like a list of things I wanted, like I wanted a therapist who, if I talked about doing ayahuasca or I talked about things from a spiritual point of view, they would be with me and on board and we can have that conversation, And I wanted someone here in Midtown Sacramento that I could walk to, right? And I wanted, a therapist that wasn't going to be like $200 a session, because while this is important to me, and if somebody said if you go to this therapist, that's $200 every session, if you go to them every day, like, you will heal your anxiety. If someone told me that, I would spend $400. I'd be like, here, let's just lock this in. But if I don't have to spend that much, I won't. And so I kind of had all these like, and I of course wanted to find a therapist that like specialized in anxiety. I wanted that to be like, oh yeah, that's something that we like that's in our wheelhouse. And much like so many other things in my life, you know, finding this apartment, finding the job I have right now, making the decision to move to Sacramento, making the decision to do ayahuasca, finding the place I would go, the retreat I would go to do, I mean, all of the things that are super important have been pretty like quick decisions, and this was no different. I found a therapist group here in Sacramento called Soul Wisdom Therapy, and you know, looked on their website. I found them because I was searching for like, you know, anxiety treatment in Sacramento, and they were one of the first options. And of course the name, I was like, once I saw that they appreciated the connection of mind, body, and spirit, I was like, that's all I needed to see. I just needed to know that that's in your lexicon, and now we can move forward. And I feel like it just clicked. It just felt so right. And you know, what's so funny about it is that I spoke to somebody today, you know, she was sort of the head of the group, and she came into like an initial consultation, and then connected me. She's like, oh, here's who I think you would be good for you to work with. And the person that she suggested was the person who, when I looked at the website and I looked at the list of therapists, something intuitively in me said, when I saw her picture, I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably who I'll work with. Like, I just knew. It was like this little voice that just kind of like whispered, that's the one. And sure enough, that's who it was. And I was like, okay, well, that's a sign. And so she's gonna call me to set up an appointment for hopefully next week. And then when I finished up the phone call and I hung up, it was 2:22 on the clock, which I love that shit. I love when the numbers line up. I love that all like, you know, little message from the universe. But I'll take it, right? I'm so into that. It doesn't hurt to take that and say, okay, I'm gonna use this as validation that like I'm on the right path, right? I feel better already. And that's something that I wanna say before wrapping this up is, you know, I think that I got to the point where my anxiety was debilitating, and in a way that it hasn't been in the past. And when it's that debilitating, it is so hard to think that like you could ever get out of this, or that you have the strength to do anything to get out of this. And what I am discovering in real time right now is that if you take the steps to getting help, just saying, okay, I'm gonna get help, and you connect with a therapist, which I was so fucking nervous about before I made the phone call. I felt like I was gonna call them and they were gonna say, sorry, Colin, like we're not taking any new patients and you don't really sound that interesting anyway. You know, like I had all that anxiety come up, and none of that happened. And as soon as I did it, as soon as I made the call, it got slightly less debilitating. Not slightly, it got significantly less debilitating. And of course, yeah, like these supplements and stuff, finding something that helps, there's no shame in that. I have found something that right now is working for me in terms of supplements that I can take. I also know that getting out of the house is really important. I'm taking myself out on a little date tonight to a little IMAX movie because I just want to go do that, and it would be fun, and it's indoors, so it's not going to be out in the cold, and it's not something that I have to be doing with somebody, so I don't have to feel weird being alone, and it's just something new and different. And all of those things are things that are super important in dealing with anxiety. It's not just that I'm taking these supplements. It's not just that I called a therapist. It's that I did both of those things, and I also am making changes in what I'm doing with my life outside of those things. If you just take some supplement and go back to bed, it's not gonna make a difference. But taking these initial steps makes it, you move out of the debilitating phase really quickly, I think. Unless it's a really, you know, I'm talking about like general anxiety disorder. I'm not talking about anxiety where you might need to be in an inpatient situation. Like, I can't speak to that. I can only speak to my own experience. And I'm telling you, like, it's a 24-hour difference that like this time yesterday, I felt like shackled down. And by just making changes to what my body might need and what my mind needs, by making those two decisions, I moved so far out of the debilitating phase. And the fact that I was able to go for a walk today, I don't mean to sound like a victim or anything, but like, if you've ever dealt with anxiety or depression, you know that the idea of getting out of your house and going for a walk can just feel like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. And the fact that I was able to do that with ease today, and that I was like, I'm gonna go see a movie. Okay, great, I'm gonna buy the ticket. Okay, great, I'm gonna go do that later. The fact that I was able to do that without any second guessing, I mean, that is, oh my God. It's like I can just tell past me, like, it got better. It already got better. You're out of that part. Like, I don't know. I am really grateful for where I am today. And yeah, I feel really positive about this and really encouraged. So, and Marco is running around the apartment like a crazy man, so I better go see what that's all about. But anyway, that's all, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye.